Hi, I'm Gutzon Borglum too. I would like to tell you about my plans for the Hall of Records. My plan was to create a large room within the mountain. This chamber would hold the documents and artifacts most central to American democratic history. The proposed large room, 80 by 100 feet, was to be drilled into the north wall of the small canyon behind the faces. The recesses inside this hall would house bronze and glass cabinets containing important historical documents, such as the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Also included in the hall would be busts of famous Americans and a list of U.S. contributions to the world in science, industry, and the arts. Now that the plans are in order and the cable wrench lines bring up supplies to the summit and the pumping station pipe for the power of the jackhammers. In a valley we built stairway behind the faces, down the location where the Hall of Records will be built. My idea would be the entrance would be 20 feet high by 14 feet wide with cast glass doors opening into a higher chamber. A bronze eagle, with a wingspread of 38 feet, would be placed above the door. Words inscribed over the eagle would read, "America's Onward March" and "The Hall of Records." Construction of the hall took place between July 1938 and July 1939, when a 70-foot tunnel was blasted into the mountain. It remains very rough cut, and tapers to a point at the back. Work halted in 1939 when Congress directed that construction should be executed only on the faces. Mount Rushmore National Memorial, sometimes called the Shrine of Democracy, has become one of the most iconic images of America. In September 17, 1937, Lincoln's head was dedicated. Lincoln proved the resilience of the Union and the power of its commitment to freedom to all. It was Lincoln who carried the founders' principles to their logical conclusions. Fourth and final head, Theodore Roosevelt, was dedicated in July 2, 1939. To political freedom he strove to add economic freedom, building the path of the Panama Canal that connects east with west and realizes the purpose of Columbus' voyage in search of economic opportunity. Through the years, progress was hampered by periodic funding shortfalls, design issues. Passed away on March 6, 1941. My son, Lincoln, took over the final work on the project and completed in October, but not full design. Notice, uniform, arms and hands omitted. Only park rangers and politicians have access to the secret room in Mount Rushmore. Originally, there were plans to place carved copies of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence in the room. Although Borglum's grand scheme for the Hall of Records had to be abandoned, the idea remained. His son and daughter pushed to finish his dream. On August 9, 1998, Gutzon Borglum's dream was completed when a repository of records was placed in the floor of the hall entry. The repository contains 16 porcelain enamel panels. Inscribed on the panels is the story of how Mount Rushmore came to be carved, who carved it, the reasons for selecting the 4 presidents depicted on the mountain, and a short history of the United States. This repository is not accessible to visitors but is left as a record for people thousands of years from now who may wonder how and why Mount Rushmore was carved. This repository consists of a teakwood box, inside a titanium vault, covered by a granite capstone. Etched on the capstone is the following quote by Gutzon Borglum. "Let us place there, carved high, as close to heaven as we can, the words of our leaders, their faces, to show posterity what manner of men they were. Then breathe a prayer that these records will endure until the wind and rain alone shall wear them away." Mount Rushmore facts you may not know. The sculpted heads of the 4 American presidents at Mount Rushmore are 60 feet high. Here are some answers to some of the most common questions plus a few other interesting facts about Mount Rushmore Monument. 1. In all, there are 506 steps to reach the summit of Mount Rushmore. 2. The Mount Rushmore sculpture was completed safely with no casualties. 3. Mount Rushmore is approximately 465 feet in total height. 4. Each of the eyes of the Mount Rushmore presidents are 11 feet wide. 5. Each of the presidents' noses are about 20 feet high. 6. Each president's mouth is about 18 feet wide. 7. The elevation of Mount Rushmore Monument is about 5,500 feet above sea level.